Some of the OJ stories I have are fantastic.
DOJ?
DOJ. And he looks at me and goes, hey, Spotty, he's like, or who's that rapper that could have been a really good football player? And I'm like, this kid goes, Kanye West. And without missing a beat, OJ goes, nah, that's the dipshit married to my goddaughter. That guy. I think the best way to say this is the term I hate the most in the world is mixologists. You become part of their family. You become part of their tradition. Like, they're like, oh, we're a family. Like, if it's in your advertising, you're a family. You're not a family. Like, you're not. I don't know what to do with my hands.
So I'm sitting with Clint Spotty Spotleson, Global Advocacy Manager for Sagamore Rye.
Yes, sir.
Great to have you here. And really, I mean, most of Vegas knows you as the Herbs Rye alum that, you know, one of those personalities that you never forget behind that bar.
Wow.
So good to have you.
It's good to be home. Second home, but home nonetheless. I still love Vegas, bottom of my heart, man. It's great to be
Right.
here.
You're living in Arizona now.
Back in Phoenix, yeah, where I grew up, close to family, so that's good. It was one of those decisions that just, you know, time made sense. You know, after 5 years at Herbs, there wasn't much to go on from there, and it was kind of, you know, what the next plans are, and wanted to branch out and kind of rediscover myself, I guess is the right way to say it. And so I went home, and obviously as parents get older, it's always a big thing, you know, wanted to be closer to them. And my sister moved home with my niece and nephew, who, if any of you follow me on social media, pretty much anytime I'm with my niece, it's videos, and she's like my favorite little person in the world. So she's dope.
Yeah, I mean, family. As we get a little older and more mature, family starts meaning more and more to you, right? But we out there, you're working for Sagamore. So that's you're global though.
Yeah. So even when I'm home, I'm not home often. I mean, like this last 6 weeks, this past week I was on the road, but I had about 5.5, 6 weeks straight in Phoenix, and that was probably the longest time since I've started in the world I've actually been home consistently. A lot of it was we had Arizona Cox Week, we had Phoenix, so it's pretty much the busiest weeks of the year for Phoenix, whereas the rest of the U.S. is still kind of defrosting and getting through like that last winter. So, and actually now that I think about it, I was actually gone part of February too, so I was only home for about 5 weeks. So, yeah.
Like it's you know, you get to the point where you're doing so much traveling that doesn't feel like home anymore. Like you're stopping in.
When any chance I get to sleep in my own bed feels like $1 million. It's like, there's days I'll flat out, like if I, like this past week, BARMANIA, so I'll give it a timestamp. Last week it was BARMANIA. Did Sagamore here, flew to Houston, had 2 nights in Houston doing events, and actually one night because I got in way late the first night. Then went to San Antonio, then went to Austin, came home for 24 hours, and then drove up here to come back up for this weekend. And that time in my bed, it was Saturday morning. I literally like turned everything off and just like, I think I woke up at like 1 in the afternoon. It was the first time I've slept that long in forever. It felt amazing. Like I got a good like 14 hours of sleep. Perfect.
That just tells you exactly like how much life has, what it means to you now at a certain age where you're just, man, I just want a long 8-hour rest, you know?
Yeah.
Because I find myself 5 hours is where I can get.
Oh yeah.
You know, real quick before so we can have a beverage in our hand. You suggested for the first cocktail the Sagamore Crush.
Absolutely.
This is 1.5 ounces of Sagamore Rye, 3 ounces of orange juice. We're gonna do a 1/4 ounce of Cointreau, and then topped with 7-Up. And your garnish is going to be an orange wheel, so you'll see me doing that. Is there any history behind this?
I mean, it's really just if the Mid-Atlantic, especially Baltimore area, which Sagamore's from, it's just, it's a Maryland thing. It's a Chesapeake Bay thing. Summertime, it's refreshing. A lot of the early recipes were vodka. You know, it came up in the, you know, the 80s, so it was like 7-Up. You know, if you want to throw a little lemon juice in, you can. But the idea is just like sweet, refreshing over crushed ice, just super crushable drink, no pun intended. Now, of course, being Baltimore and being all things Baltimore, we, of course, embraced it. And we've had some fun twists with it. Just last week at Baltimore, or at BARMANIA, I actually did one with Sagamore and then a little sour cherry in it as your sweetening base. So that was a big hit, little ginger ale instead. So you play around with those flavors, but I've seen a lot of different twists on it. And it's just a very traditional, like, on-brand Baltimore thing. Goes great with crab cakes, obviously. Old Bay. Seasoned with Old Bay. You can do an Old Bay rim.
Okay.
Probably not that good, but it's just on brand. So for Baltimore,
like probably not that good, but
probably not that good. But I'm willing to try it.
With the I wanted a reference though. You want to find things at bars that make you use products that you kind of need. So you need oranges for orange peels. I don't care what bar you're at. If you're not making orange peels, I hate you.
Yeah.
You know, so with it's just funny. If you ask someone, can you make an old fashioned? The answer is like, why wouldn't I be able to make an old fashioned? This is a bar. There's a few ingredients that you just need to have. And I feel, and
You don't have
if
an
you
orange
don't,
peel. Your mom's a hoe.
I mean, and at Bramare, we do we do orange peels with the Bramare brand on it. And when you do that, you're taking a lot of the oil out of that,
Yeah.
you know. So you need a second orange peel to just get the aromatics out of it.
Yeah.
With that being said, you need to find a use for all this orange juice because you don't want to waste. You have all these peels around. You might as well, you know, use a drink with orange juice. So I'm like, man, I'm hoping I love this because I'd love to put an orange juice cocktail on the menu at Bramare.
Yeah.
And be able to blow through. Because I'm serious, we have to dump, because we're a fresh juice program. So we have to dump orange juice every week if we don't go through it. And it kills me.
Yeah.
So finding uses for it is important.
I mean, in fairness, I would love for you to also put a Sagamore Crush on the menu at
Cool.
Bromar. I'm just saying. Gives me a reason to come in more and more every time I'm in town. So make that my power alley.
Indeed.
I'll just float between there and Cleaver all night long.
It
just
does
back
make
and
the
forth.
choice easier on where to go. You're like, well, you do have a drink on the menu that's near and dear to your heart.
So, there's only so many Garibaldis you can put on menus before it just gets out of touch. So I think
Exactly.
you got to find something. Or I mean, if Constantine wants to open for brunch, maybe. Who knows?
Ooh.
Final use for OJ. Yeah, Constantine.
luck
I'm
with
not trying
that.
to convince you on this one right now. Do it.
This reminded me of that orange whip from Blues Brothers.
I haven't seen that one in years.
Well, it came up on Instagram
Yeah.
where he's like, orange whip. Who want orange whip? Who want orange whip? 4 orange whips.
Orange whips. Woo. Wow. Yeah, no, it's a great drink. It's super, like I said, super crushable, which you're gonna see. I think that's the greatest part of the name is that it is that way. But it's part of the ethos of Baltimore. I mean, it's like one of those things like, you know, going to see sights from The Wire. That's actually not a Baltimore thing. I'm totally making that part up there. But you know, being part of getting out into the city and like experiencing like open markets and like Baltimore's got a really old school. It's one of the oldest cities in America. It's got some great old school culture to it, and it's a really underappreciated city that is grown on me a lot. Every time I get together, I discover a new part to it. There's some great restaurants, great just living, being right on the bay. Obviously, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's just exciting. I haven't watched you pour a drink in a few years, so this is kind of what's that like the peaceful stuff, the ASMR? It's very ASMR feeling right now watching you do this.
Well, plus you're our first episode with the headphones on, so you're actually getting that, you know.
I can hear like little.
Yeah, we found with we want to try using the headphones more with our guests because we really want to get the one thing that we hear a lot is I can't hear them, you know. So it's one of those things that I wish I could wear them too, but it's a little hard to move around here with a cord with you.
Don't lie, you didn't want to mess your hair up. We already know this. Okay,
I mean,
come
that's
on.
true too. That's true too.
You know, I just,
We tried putting them on you. You started swatting our hands away like a child. We're like, Michael, it's cool. Like,
it really was. We had a
we're not
discussion.
going to force you.
Told you, I'm not going to wear them. Mom.
Why do you always embarrass me in front of my friends?
So I want to get into for our guests that aren't like obviously if you've been in Vegas for a while, you definitely know Herbs and Rye. You've probably had many meals there, many drinks, and if you know anything about Herbs and Rye, then you know about Spotty, and you were one of those people. And I came like the second rendition of the club, right? Where, you know, it was you, Matt Graham, Eddie, and Joy that I saw all the time. And those are the people that you're like, oh, those are my people, you know? So everyone has their group of bartenders, you know? Because now there's like a new school and they're younger and they don't know who the hell I am, you know? So it's like, it's funny to go in there when the changing of the guard is happening.
Yeah.
So
I think with all great bars, it's going to evolve over time. You know, we had a great run during our era. I mean, I came on right as, you know, Adam was leaving. Adam was on the show a couple weeks ago. I replaced him on the team. Emily had just left. Matthias had just left. So, I mean, these were people that were stalwarts and part of that original Tales run back in 2014. So these were, or 2016. But these were all kind of like those OG faces that people got to know. And, you know, we had big shoes to fill, and I hope we did. I mean, it was great getting to work with Joy for all the years. Eddie's obviously, even to this day, I saw him yesterday. I was like, my man. Second I saw him, you know, getting to see Matt, even though the beard's gone, which was super trippy yesterday. I don't know if you've seen him.
I have not seen him without a beard.
The beard is down to stubble.
That's
like,
iconic.
Not trying to throw you under the bus, but it was like nobody recognizes him. Everybody looks at him and they go, what is this? Oh my God, that's Matt Graham without a beard. Like it becomes like weirdly like it's like you've seen like somebody like a ghost almost. Like I'm trying to find the right words for it.
If
It
you were to
just startles
cartoon
you.
character him as like a logo, you would picture the beard.
Yeah, the beard, 100%. I mean, I think it's like on the Herbs website still, the picture of him with the beard like polishing the glass is still like one of the most iconic Herbs images from our website. And now there's no beard. I mean, it's
Oh, Matt, what have you done?
yeah. He had to for it. I mean, there's a good reason. He had to do it for work, so he made sure
like, "No,
everybody knew it was for work.
Thought it was the story of that girl from Dirty Dancing, you know, where she got the nose job, and then she couldn't get she liked her nose better, but no one would hire her because they couldn't recognize her anymore. Ruined her career.
That's a solid crush.
I mean,
It's crushable.
well, you gave me the recipe. I only, I ripped it off of Sagamore's website. So
Perfect.
They're doing
you should.
follow Sagamore's website to a T. You will win.
All of our team out there, the 1909 team. So the distiller, we actually have a really awesome bar that's open most days of the week. Monday, Tuesday are kind of our dark days there. Look at this. He's going to get a little mint in the mix now, too. Whew.
I mean, call me
Slap
crazy. I
that
just
mint.
love mint on a cocktail.
Yeah, mint makes everything better.
I mean, for real. It's one of those things. You can put it on almost anything, and it's going to increase
Yeah,
the
please.
presentation. The shock of green with the orange. I mean,
Like, you can whip the hell out of my drink right now. Yeah.
Like garnish, like
Where's their college-
garnish ketchup.
Pretty much.
absolutely. Especially in like, I mean, God, you can't go to a tiki bar and not have like mint on the rim. You know.
Early in my career in Phoenix, arguably the most famous bartender probably to come out of Phoenix, one of the two, being Jason Asher and Ross Simon. Asher, though, was my mentor. Put him early in. So we used to have this joke that there was a Jason Asher school of mint because he would flat out put like, if you had a pound of mint, that was like 8 garnishes. Like that's how much mint would go into every single, and it had to be picked meticulously. And like I remember there was like one Arizona Cocktail Week. We were doing a pop up, and maybe we got a little too drunk beforehand, and like I was like, this is 2014, so many years ago, and I couldn't figure out how to pick the mint right because it was just too drunk to do it, and
I mean, damn.
yeah, like literally throwing it everywhere. I have like 2 bags of mint scattered. He loves telling that story because I'm just like, it's all waste. We can't use any of this. Can't use it. He's like walking around like pulling up like giant like mounds that could easily just be tied together, popped in. But it was just always a running joke in Phoenix. I kind of always continued on just the school of mint garnishing because it was such an art. Like the level of mint, like that bucket you have right there is like 2 garnishes in his world. So you can
I
show
want to
that.
say people really overthink mint garnish because I find wilted shitty mint at most bars, and this doesn't even have liquid in it at all. And this could be 2 weeks if I wanted it to be, and it would look just like this.
Yeah.
And it just needs that. If it needs this at all, if it's sealed, I like to. You get them ready. We get the mint tops, and at BARMANIA we take the bottoms and make that in a separate container. But just a little damp towel. If you cut them at an angle, these will last 2 weeks in a container sealed all day.
I would do similar, just put a tiny bit of water at the base before it doesn't touch the leaves, so it's just on the base of the stem.
Right.
Same effect. I mean, you're building an environment for it essentially, so it's got enough moisture in the air, keeps it cool enough that it's not going to turn. So,
Yeah, it's simple things like that I feel that bars are missing from, or I shouldn't say missing. They're just not doing because like 1 or 2 people that are really responsible for the bar program don't care.
yeah,
And it's one of, to me, we have those branded peels at BARMANIA, and before I was running the program, there was like always curled ends because they prep them, they put them in the Perlick pull-out drawer, and the only problem with those is they're super cold because they're sharing room with other spots. So then the things that are in that super cold air hitting all of your garnish makes them actually go bad faster in some ways. Even though it's keeping them safe, they wilt and they curl, and you can't put like wet towels on top of things because then it gets like frozen.
yeah.
So, the answer is that you have to keep little delis, and yeah, it's an extra step, but man, the difference in what your appeal is for the cocktail, and aesthetics are half of the cocktail.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Drink with your eyes. So
Yeah.
you're going to look at a drink, and I mean, look at this thing, the color on it, just the color, the green, the orange, the contrast. Like this looks appealing just the way you're looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to serve me this in like, I don't know, like a plastic cup, like that little metal cup over there. So there's a basic, like let's say a red Solo cup.
Right.
With just random ice, it's just going to go OJ. And you're like, oh, this is cool. Wow, great. Like colors play so much into it. And just what you see, it's going to make you taste differently. So
With cocktails, what's your world of that? Like, because obviously being at Herbs, you're very versed in all the classics. Where do you go with that? Like, do you love classics? Do you love making cocktails? Is it more of you're the showman behind the bar that's really talking people up? And hey, the cocktails are obviously a part of it, but not your focus.
I tried to always be, unilateral. I went through my phase of being like the nerdy cocktail person. I was like, yeah, it's all about the drinks. And then I started realizing, I like to talk, I like to have fun. So at that point, it kind of became more of like just being unilateral, being able to make a good drink. But at the end of the day, I think the best way to say this is the term I hate the most in the world is mixologist.
Right.
And the reason being is that, to me, if you look up the definition of a mixologist, it's like someone who makes drinks. Like if you're sitting behind a desk writing recipes all day, call yourself a mixologist. The second you step behind that bar, you're a bartender, and it's more about what's going on this side, not this side.
Exactly.
Like it's this guess. It's that, one of the quotes said, not to go back to Herbs so much on one of the quotes that Nick Talley used to drive in us early on was that you never know what's going on in this person's life on this side of the bar. That couple that comes in and orders one steak to split it, for all you know, that could be their anniversary. They don't have a lot. This is for them the one time of the year they're going out for dinner.
Yeah.
They'll split like one happy hour drink, have a steak, one side. And for them, if you make that the most meaningful night of their year, they're going to come back eventually. And hopefully,
They send you a Christmas card.
yeah, you become part of their family. You become part of their traditions. And that was, I think, such a big part early on was making sure we kept those relationships and knowing, everybody's different walking that room. Sure, you always want the baller who's going to come through and order everything and be tipping hundreds left and right. But
That's the easy money.
yeah,
Right.
at the end of the day, getting the memories. Like I can recall this couple came in all the time. The guy he looked rough. Is the right way to say it. I don't really know how to say. Like heavy tat. People always kind of looked at him weird. He'd always ask for me, and I loved taking care of this guy. And it became one of those things that became like he started out like not tipping at all. And then within like 4 to 5 months, like every time I see him, it'd be like a high five. Like, yeah, like give me like 10 minutes. We'll get some seats cleared up. We got you, He'd be all happy. His girl would be all happy. And he ended up like within like 6 months became one of those people that came in all the time, was tipping like 25%, like was just super like drank like he would just drink like a rum and coke. Didn't have to be anything fancy, but he just loved the fact that he was getting noticed every time he came in. He was getting that handshake and he was getting treated like, like everybody else.
Well, I want to emphasize that I can actually picture these kind of people where I'm picturing who you're saying.
Yeah.
And they don't get great service because of what you're saying.
Yeah, people just
And
assume.
when they get great service, it's such a game changer for them that they're just like, well, this is nice.
Yeah.
I actually have a guest just like that, and he's the nicest older gentleman ever. He walks to our spot,
Yeah.
has a pizza and a glass of Pinot Noir. He doesn't ever need two, so I make sure to give him like a half glass more. You know what I mean? As like a vig. Like toke him a little bit. Hey,
There's
bro.
a little bit left in this bottle. Let me
Yeah,
finish this off
exactly.
for you real quick. Yeah.
And he's so, I go, hey, his name's Michael, and it's like, hey, Michael.
I remember that. No, I'm kidding.
And it's like, hey, but he's, he's an older gentleman, unassuming. He's not showing off at all. He comes in quietly, sits in the corner, and if you didn't treat him well, you wouldn't know that he cared, right?
Yeah.
But I could just tell that the amount of care I give him. Like now, he's in there 3-4 nights a week, and he's just like, hey, and I'm like, what? Are you getting a pizza tonight and a Pinot Noir? Or are you switching it up on me? And he's just like, I am getting that, and he's just happy to be acknowledged and remembered.
It's such a great feeling. When
I got goosebumps. That makes me happy.
I'm thinking of, and this is a really off-wall story, but one of our best regulars at Herbs, and the reason it's off-the-wall story is I years later found out I actually know her, like her brother has become a really good friend of mine. Excuse me, cocktails kicking in, getting a little gassy. Probably should eat more food today. Stop drinking right out of the gate. No, so
We're hearing his inner monologue.
This is what plays in my head all the time, guys. Like, God. She would come in a lot, though. She was a lawyer, great lawyer. Still is a great lawyer. She actually did a lot of, like, the bad criminal. Like, she was the one defending, like, the murderers and things like that. The whole initial point is, though, she told me her brother owned a tequila company, and 2017. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Everybody has a tequila company nowadays. Cool. Whoop-de-doo. It's probably disgusting. Never took time to talk to her about it, but she was amazing. Became one of our great regulars. Became a good friend. But on days she was down, she would come and you could tell, like, she went through like a breakup at one point. And I remember like literally going and like, it was like Eddie or I would see her, be like, hey, you're not feeling good today. Let's get you a Ramos. Like we didn't even ask. We were just like, we're going to make you a Ramos.
Yeah.
And she loved Ramoses, but she didn't want it. She knew when we were busy how time consuming they were. And so we were just like, no, it's fine. Like, I don't care if we're 4 deep. It's about you. We're going to make you happy. And she always stayed a great regular. The reason it got weird was then a couple years later, I had jumped to this side of the industry. I was working for a smaller company called Maverick in Arizona, and they had a lot of the cool, like, artisanal, like the additive free tequilas and all, like, crazy mezcals and all that kind of stuff. A lot of cool stuff. And I'm going on a work with and get in the car with the owner of La Gratona Tequila, which I absolutely adore, and talking with him. He's like, yeah. He goes, where are you from? I go, Phoenix. I go, I used to live in Vegas. He goes, oh. He goes, I love Vegas. My sister lives there. I go, what's she do? She's a lawyer. And I'm like, oh, she is. And he's like, where'd you work? I go, Herbs Rye. She goes there all the time. I go, your sister's Andy. And before he looks at me and goes, what? I go, you own a tequila. Sister's a lawyer. Herbs Rye. I'm like, it's got to be Andy. It's your sister's Andy. He goes, yes, that's my sister. I go, let's FaceTime her right now. Like, we're literally in the car. Awesome. And now Matt and I have become like super great friends.
He loves you automatically.
Yeah. So besides the fact I did, like, even I don't work with their brands at all. I do love his tequila. I drink it a lot. And I run like BCB. I was in Berlin hanging out with him. By chance, we're both in London. So last day in London, we went and did like a little like find the oldest pubs we can, go have a Guinness at them. Like, it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love those man, that's something about Vegas too.
I'm getting chips.
Right? I mean, look at this. We talked about the hospitality the bar cast.
We got a little rice cake.
Yeah. We don't know where you are on, your journey.
Gluten-free snacking. We got gluten. We got no gluten.
We've got extra gluten.
Quasi-gluten, yeah.
Extra gluten.
Baxter down here is like eyeballing.
I can't do the gluten.
The dog's looking at me. He's like, okay, now what's my ball?
So
it's
now
my
that we're
snack
cool.
time. Yeah.
Remember all that work I did when you walked in? I said, you're the man.
I let you scratch my butt. Now do I get a chip, please? Like,
he's going to have to come on the podcast here soon, I think.
Oh, yeah. How loud is this, me chewing the chips in the microphone right now?
He's got all the control.
You can hear it, right?
Yeah.
You can hear.
I can hear it. Oh, wow, this got really loud.
That's me. Yeah.
He's giving it. Yeah. So that's the beauty of it. So that's why we want to do that with every guest, because at least they'll know where they're at, Yeah. Because I'll tell you, I'm going to give Jameson a hard time every time I see him, because he's like afraid of the mic, where he just kind of throughout the whole podcast just kind of got further away from the mic.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
And we're learning here too. So we're going to learn how to coat, you just see like the mic slowly inching closer as he leans further away.
I had to crank it so hard you could hear his stomach grumble in one of them.
There's a hidden Jameson stomach grumble, because his mic's turned so loud that you can hear his bowels.
God.
That's amazing.
Hear his heartbeat.
That's how soft-spoken he is. He's a man of mystery.
I love JMO.
I know that you don't probably want to like hearken too much to Herbs and Rye, but I do want to go into a little more detail, because honestly, meeting you and that crew and becoming familiar with you guys, it's kind of what made me feel part of the community here. Kind of, if you're noticed at Herbs and they remember you, oh yeah, well, I got to see you, or the Herbs bar team came in and saw you, you go like, damn, they actually, like, it was a big deal. So,
We tried to be, that was a big, like, it's something I don't think we ever talked about, and I think some people knew, but Sundays was always kind of our thing. We like to do like the bar team. We would do family dinner, so we'd go out, and we didn't do it every Sunday, but we would try to do it, once or twice a month at least.
Wow. We'd
go out to a really awesome dinner, like do like a Bazaar Meats or something like that, go just insane to the walls because the chefs would come in to see us, so return the favor, and then we'd go hit a bar too. If like a new spot was opening, it was not mandatory, but it was kind of like we all knew we had to be there. So if we were off, like, you go to the new bar opening, you say
it's
hi.
not mandatory, but we're gonna talk shit about you.
Yeah, you're gonna get made fun of.
You're gonna hear about it at work the next day, so why not just go?
Yeah, just go. Just be part of the team.
Which reminds me, today we had our staff meeting, our first official staff meeting since like our first opening staff meeting, and I've been a part of a lot of staff meetings in my life, and I have to give Constantine credit. We had a pretty polite conversation, because it was mostly because we're going 7 days a week, and it's the hours are going to change, the staffing's going to change, we're trying not to hire more people, and all these things. And tipping was a big deal, as it always is, and servers and bartenders always disagree on who should be tipped what accordingly. And it depends on the concept too, of the divvying up of workload.
Yeah.
But after this whole conversation, he's like, "Hey, everyone's gonna stay, and I'm gonna treat everyone to dinner."
Aw.
And it was such a nice, like, man, it was already a good meeting, and then he's like, "Here's some wine. Here, like, we're sending out all the food. Just enjoy, sit back, and relax." And I was just like, "Man, I could work for this guy forever."
Yeah.
And it's like, those are the things that I kind of picture Herbs and Rye, and how you're saying it's like that family building thing where you're breaking bread together, and it costs money sometimes, to do that. I'm not saying in those cases where they're going to family dinner, it's kind of everyone chipping in, but in this case, that was, they way overdid it. It was so much food that I was like, "Guys, stop." You're gonna, it's table 34 in Henderson is small, like a locals, who's around the area place, but it's amazing, and it's honestly the little engine that could, because it's a small building that they're doing big things. So
That's awesome.
pretty cool. But yeah, that was a special thing that I want to say. Not enough managers and proprietors and owners understand that it's not, stop if you don't think in the dollars and cents with your team, and you really like. It sometimes costs you some money, but it pays you back with loyalty and excitement. Now everyone's kind of pumped. They're like, "Oh, gotta take care of that guy."
It's such a weird analogy to say for it, but you're all going to war together. I mean, whether it's a positive war or negative war, you're working hard together. And, yeah.
Yeah, if you're positive, war.
Yeah, it's positive war. But no, that's a good way to look at it, though. I mean, like,
Depends on what group chat you're in.
Yeah. You're getting crushed every day. Like, it's good to be able to sit back and kind of look at the week and relax, and kind of be like, that was always a big one. Was like trying to hash out any issues we had with each other and stuff like that. Like, it happens. Like, we're all people here. Things are going to happen, but at the end of the day, being able to find that common ground to work together, even if you're in a disagreement or anything like that, was always huge. And that was part of it, was breaking bread, and like the family idea to it. I hate when places use the word family, because too many places use it too loosely nowadays. Like, they're like, "Oh, we're a family." Like, if it's in your advertising that you're a family, you're not a family. Like, you're not. You're selling people, like, you're gaslighting them to thinking you're a family ran. Like,
Any corporate structure.
yeah. When you're
We're a
here,
family
when
here.
you're here, your family. No. I'm getting pushed out that door with my microwaved Alfredo sauce. Like,
They're
shut up.
firing you, but I'm family.
But I'm family. Yeah, but I'm
anymore.
family.
Yeah, this is
No,
saying no longer your family.
But you look at
Legally.
like in Herbs Rye, though. Like in there, it was a true. I mean, the first reason I came back to town this weekend was for Nick Telly's daughter's quinceanera. Like, that's why I'm in town. I didn't come back just to do the podcast.
And you've been gone for years too.
A couple years now, like 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So
3 years. So that shows, it's important stuff. Like, God, it was hard to see Emma. Like, she's 15 now. Like, what? Like, I miss little 7-year-old, like, kid smart ass Emma, not like adult, semi-adult smart ass. Now it's way cuter when a 7-year-old's talking crap to you.
It reminds me of like many years ago working at Nora's, and Marcello has a big family.
Yeah.
And his family would be running around there, being a kid, and now I'm seeing they're a manager or a host or whatever, and you see these kids grow up at restaurants, and you're like, now that's part of family. Like,
Yeah.
you feel part of the family.
When
really.
you've watched them grow up, it's like you've helped. That it takes a village to raise somebody. Like, you feel like you're part of that village.
Oh yeah,
Oh, even if it's just the smallest amount. Like,
absolutely.
but like, it was. I'm thinking back, like, summertime, like, we'd do barbecues at his house, hang out with the kids, like, pool parties. Like, that was a normal thing. It was a normal Sunday for us. And take someone like me who moved here, and I have my uncle and aunt are here, cousins. I've got like one strand of my family like lives in Vegas, but they were always busy. They got kids, so to move here, and that first couple of years, my family's in Phoenix. It felt good, and you're Italian. I come from an Italian family as well, so the background of like having family around on the weekends was always big, and like to have that experience to be like, all right, I don't have family here, but okay, I got off work at 5. I'm waking up at 1, swimsuits on. We're going to go eat street tacos and swim in Nectali's pool and then play video games. So we all pass out on the couch at 8 o'clock at night. Like that was just, it felt great. It felt family. Like, and that's the thing, like at the end of the day, it was such an honor and a blessing to be welcomed into their home and to still like to this day feel like a part of the family. I mean, it's how like last Monday, I had hours to kill before the airport. I had to take a couple calls. I literally went to his house. I was just sitting at the coffee table, like taking calls, hearing Nick Telly like kind of half doze off on the couch because he's just waiting for me to get done talking straight for 2 hours into a camera. So it was just fun. Like kids running around, like, it was, it just felt right. It felt like family again.
It sounds like it hits home for you.
It does. It's just grateful.
So then
grateful that I got this experience in Vegas. Like I got to have a second family here when I was here. So
well, and it's good. It's got to be good to see their growth. You know,
of course.
Now they've expanded to Cleaver, which is now another staple in Vegas, and then they opened Middle Child, and then now Middle Child's a night place too.
Yeah. Don't forget Morning News as well, the breakfast spot.
I haven't been there. Morning News.
So Morning News is right by Herbs. It's trying to remember what it was before. It's a big building, but it's
Really?
the food is insane.
My lord, that's another thing.
They did like what was it? I was just there last weekend. It was for St. Patrick's Day, Lucky Charms pancakes, like legitimate Lucky Charms marshmallows on them and all that stuff. They do like a churro French toast. So there's like some huge like this plate will give you diabetes type breakfast stuff. But there's also like steak and eggs. I mean, you got to have a steak and eggs, obviously, if you're Herbs Cleaver Middle Child.
I mean, God,
you have to. That would like I don't think you'd
Signature
actually
dish.
be allowed to be open.
Yeah.
But they got like waffles. I had the chilaquiles. They were phenomenal. I wanted something a little more savory and more, easy to eat. Just the sugar. Where I was like, dude, I'm not feeling great. Maybe drank too much the night before, so I don't need that much sugar in my food. Let's go something more like eggs and chips.
Well, speaking of which, what's your culinary experience like? What do you love working in restaurants? I mean, obviously you don't anymore.
So I actually started in kitchens, career-wise. I believe it or not.
Like back of house.
I was back of the house first.
Really?
It led up until the age of about 19. I was working at this restaurant Earl's in Scottsdale, Arizona. For those that might remember, it was a Canadian like high-end chain. There's only a couple in the U.S. though, so it was treated like it was like a $7 million a year restaurant in like 2000. Not to date myself on how old I am, but 2000 in Arizona. Like it crushed. Like it was like the place like newscasters would be at, like celebrities. You go to Canada and it's like a high-end freaking like Chili's. But in the U.S. it was huge.
You said it was called Earl's?
Earl's.
Nice.
They're like an elephant mascot, but I was working in the back of the house, and there was actually a night where the bar back didn't show, and the exec chef was there. He's like, listen, he's like, I can float you around. At this point, I kind of worked up my ways too. I'd worked up through the kitchen pretty quickly, and so I was actually supposed to be helping out, like running the expo window for the night at that point. He's like, how about I'll do this if you don't mind helping out. He's like, I'm sure they'll tip you out. They'll make it worth your time. And so I was like, cool, why not? And so, it was hard labor, but getting to talk to people and stuff was fun. And then I made more money that night. I made in like 2 weeks in the kitchen, and I was 19 years old at the time. Like, my decision was set at that point. And
I mean, come on.
yeah, I served for a little while, then jumped behind it. I was actually I bartended at this hockey. It was the Coyotes practice facility. There was a hockey restaurant up there, so it wasn't really bartending. It was like pouring Guinnesses and like the 3 shots that I was drinking at college bars anyway. So I knew how to make them. With a bunch of Canadians that just like 10 o'clock at night would just be like, yeah, give me a Guinness and let me go chase some birds, eh? Like, that like. Just pissed
how
off.
about you
I
give me
pissed
a
off our
shot?
2 Canadian listeners right now, guys. I'm sorry.
I hope we have that many. That would be awesome.
They have to pay an extra 20% to listen to this podcast.
Oh wow.
Oh, well,
Wow.
nice segue.
Wow. No, but so I was working there briefly, and it was cool, but I didn't, really get a chance. So I was bar back in a few spots, and finally, during the World Series in 2001, I was 20 years old. You can bartend at 19 in Phoenix. I was bar backing at the sports bar. My best friend was bartending at, and World Series hits. Diamondbacks are in it. I don't know if anybody remembers the 01 World Series. Arguably one of the greatest World Series of all time. Yankees, D-backs. D-backs won in Game 7 on a walk-off, but it was the first time. I hope Giuseppe doesn't listen to this because, yeah, he's going to hate me from this one. It was the first time Mariano Rivera got beat, so that was like what killed his playoff start right there. It was like the beginning of the end of the dynasty. And for the Arizona, it was our only championship, so it was kind of a big deal for us. We failed miserably in everything else, so but we were so busy, they were short bartenders, so I got moved to bartender at that point, and then never looked back. So got to do strip clubs, sports bars, high-end restaurants, and then it segued into like larger bars and events, and moved into cocktails around 2010. So,
What's your craziest moment at Herbs and Rye, or one of
legally
two?
talk about, or
Yeah, let's go legal. Let's go.
There's a couple that
Statute
was
of
like-
limitations.
I mean, it's 7 years. So we had a girl that was really happy with her food one time, so she jumped over the bar into the kitchen and proceeded to lift her dress over her head to thank the kitchen staff. She thought that was the right way to do that. We're like,
That's incredibly happy.
Doesn't sound like there's anything illegal.
yeah, it wasn't really so much illegal as like frowned upon to see her jump. Like she literally jumped the bar.
It was a
Before
guy.
we could- yeah.
If it was a guy, he would have been
Yeah,
tackled.
if he was like pants off, we probably have been like, what's going on here?
It's a different world we live in.
I
now.
love my steak. How do I tell
Craziest-
you?
We don't want to know.
Craziest stories. I mean, there was so many. Like we were good about keeping it under control. Like it sounds crazy. It was organized chaos. I mean, we had some great regulars over the years. I mean, some of the OJ stories I have are fantastic. Like
The OJ.
the OJ, they're not with us anymore. OJ, but the OJ.
You could talk
You know,
about
he was a
that
staple in Vegas. Actually, this one I love telling anyway. It was just because it was the cultural moment to this story. So he's sitting at the bar one night. He'd come in a lot with his two buddies, the Michaels. Not this Michael, different Michaels, but
Jambroni.
anybody that knew that era, like that 2019, like they knew who I'm talking about because these guys would be with him all the time. So those guys would come in, they're like talking to people at the bar, and OJ would kind of just be quiet, you know. And he'd either talk sometimes, but sometimes he's just in one of those moods. So he'd glass of wine, got some pasta, and so we're just kind of BSing while I'm working at the bar. And he looks at me and goes, "Hey, Spotty," he's like, "Who was that football player, or who's that rapper that could have been a really good football player?" And I'm like, "What a bizarre question to ask." And so I'm like trying to think off the top of my head. I'm like,
More than you'd imagine.
I'm like, Snoop Dogg, because at that point I think Snoop Dogg's son was actually playing at U of A as wide receiver. So I'm like, Snoop Dogg? I go, he coaches? He was like, no, it was a Snoop Dogg. I'm like, I mean, I would have said Biggie as a lineman, but I don't know. He's like, yeah, no. So we keep going back and forth. And there's these two younger kids, maybe like 24, 25 at the bar, and they're just giddy. And I'm like looking, I go, why are these kids so giddy? And it's like, because one, they're sitting next to OJ and they're ready to jump in and just throw their 2 cents in this conversation. And the one kid finally just chime in. And I'm playing this out like this was this like 8-minute conversation, but it was probably about 2 minutes, realistically, because I was like rapid firing names. We were kind of busy. This kid goes, Kanye West. And without missing a beat, OJ goes, nah, that's the dipshit married to my goddaughter. Fuck that guy.
Oh my God.
And we like, it was that moment that you forget, like, he was Robert Kardashian's best friend. He is Kim Kardashian's godfather. Like, just go back a few years ago.
That is
like,
so crazy.
It is one of those things, like, all that comes to all of us are just like blank stare. We're looking at each other like, what do I say? Like, and then like, I shit you not, he literally like grabs his wine, takes a 70, looks over and goes, oh, it's Nelly. Nelly's who I was thinking of. It just like goes right back, and we're just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, craziest. That was a fun one. Like,
PTSD moment, just seeing stuff.
yeah, it was just like when you're trying to figure out like all like just that pop culture moment comes together, and you forget like who he was 30 years before. Like, he was one of the biggest stars in the world. Like, it was crazy. God, what other ones do we have? I mean, we had a lot of fun times. There was always like the weekend around BARMANIA when all the pop-ups would go on. We had some wild ones with that. Like, nights we had to stop seating in the bar area because people were standing on, like, you couldn't get in.
I mean, I have some footage from BARMANIA this year that I'll have to pop in. I'll send to Kyler to put in to maybe a short or something from
Yeah.
you. But man, that it is the one time, because I mean, picture it's a restaurant. There's a corridor with booths on one side and stools on the other side facing the bar, and then on BARMANIA, it's just a sea of humanity.
Yeah.
On the booth, standing on the edges, it's layers of people as if they were in bleachers, but there's no bleachers.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
There's a really awesome picture. One of my buddies, Jim Rondell, took back in, I think it was 2019 or 2018. And I was actually helping out behind the bar. I was actually running the corner of the bar. So, like, the only spot where we're pouring drinks. Now, for those of you that don't know what BARMANIA is, it's this big charity competition we do that's wrestling themed. And I think everybody in Vegas pretty much knows about BARMANIA at this point. A lot of people in the industry. But you get everybody it's a lot of
They're
big
a
names in the
loser.
industry come to town for it. Everything goes to charity. It's all for St. Baldrick's, which is children's cancer. So it's a huge, like, it's a huge deal for Nick Talley. His wife, Michelle, this is like her go-to charity. none of the money actually goes to higher ups. It's all like a true nonprofit where money goes immediately into research and everybody volunteers their time. So it's one of those we've always put a lot behind. And even as I'm no longer with the company, I still care a lot about St. Baldrick's. I still care a lot. I mean, that's kids' cancer. If you are cool with not supporting kids' cancer, then you know what, you should probably just die right now. Like, you're a disgusting human being.
If you have a problem with
Yeah.
protecting kids from cancer,
Yeah, like you probably deserve to get, like, I don't want to say mean things, but like if you want kids to die from cancer, you should probably get hit by a car.
you're
right
like
now.
you're,
should get
you're
adult
allowed to
cancer.
say.
Yeah, you should, but like a really painful version. Like,
Now there's two things.
I don't want you to have the soft
To
cancer,
add-
okay?
this is like, and for some reason you just keep lingering.
The
Like
butt
yeah.
cancer. That's what I want.
The butt one.
Before we chastise the the child cancer hating people of the world.
Yeah, all three of
any
them.
further. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about. We are making the Morgenthaler Amaretto sour.
Yeah, as he calls it, there's a famous article he did years back that says, "I make the world's greatest amaretto sour," and it happens to be a split base. I'll let you talk more about that.
I
You're
mean,
the one making it, but
that's true. But it was your suggestion, and I want to hear everything you're going to say, and then I'll fill in anything else that I
yeah.
want.
So the idea was he liked obviously amaretto sours can be sweeter, so I wanted to make it a more anybody that got to experience Jeff's early bars, even when he's doing Pacific Standard now. But like Pepe La Moco, Clyde Common, there was always this theme. You would see like one or two like classic drinks that were just like those '80s drinks. Some were sweet, some made really well. Like whether it was a grasshopper or Fernet in it, or in this case, his amaretto sour, where he would actually cut it with a high proof bourbon. I mean, nowadays I use Sagamore Rye, the cast strength, because that's
I mean,
it's on brand. I
for
kind
no
of have
other
to. But,
for no other reason than it's excellent.
yeah, besides it being like the greatest rye whiskey you've ever had in your entire life.
Perhaps science. is
Perhaps,
checked,
yeah.
But
Yeah,
also,
that's
excellent.
From an expert in Sagamore Rye, that is
on.
my opinion. So,
While we're talking,
yeah.
I gotta get it. I haven't poured a neat sag. I bought the bottle because I didn't have it here, and I didn't want to have another bottle that people say, "Hey, do you have that here?" And I didn't have it.
See?
So I bought the bottle. Also, the reason I don't have Old Tom on this bar is because I went to Total Wine several times now, and that's my spot where you go to in Vegas for. They have almost everything, but they don't have Old Tom there.
Really?
I looked. I was with Kyler. We looked. He checked.
I seen it.
He's seen it. There was none. But so there was none. Now I will say I'm going
Old
to
Tom
have
free zone.
Mr. Corey from Corey's Liquors,
Yeah.
and he's going to come on eventually. And I almost guarantee has an Old Tom because he is the best place to find cool spirits in this entire town at the right price. But he'll be on in a future podcast.
He's not a sponsor right now either. Just so you guys
No
know.
one is
That
a
was
sponsor.
actually that was actually
No
just
one's
said.
a sponsor except Weber Ranch, and they gave us some bottles, so we use their product. But I love their product because I asked them. I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
how about you send us some bottles?"
Rubber Ranch is
I would love it.
delicious.
It's the best vodka to use, especially for unless you're looking for completely neutral,
Yeah.
which there's that. Like if you want something like that, that's not that. It's not a neutral vodka, but I mean, you want a different vodka with some character. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
that's the best one. Then the thing I wanted to ask before I did this was your feelings on the double shake. Morgenthaler says he likes to do the little egg beater, and get it whipped up in that way. Me, high volume bars, I don't think you need to do either.
If
I
you
think
know
you
how
put
to
in a couple
shake
big
your-
cubes,
Yeah.
You know,
it's-
you shake the hell out of it, and you don't. But I was just curious on your opinion.
I'm kind of the same boat. And I think part of it was persuaded. I was when I was at Herbs and Giuseppe was working there, because anybody knows Giuseppe knew he was. He's like OG from the New York scene, even like. And he was always big on the couple cubes, just shake it a little bit longer, hard. You can just pour and go. Like
That's my philosophy.
yeah, 100%. Like I think you get the same consistency out. You get the same silkiness out.
I mean,
of it.
if we're talking about a minutia of difference, I can't
Yeah.
argue. But
I mean, if you're gonna limp wrist shake egg whites from the get go,
if you're gonna limp wrist anything,
yeah, you're doing
get fucked.
Yeah, exactly. get adult cancer.
I think
for
that's
hating
kind of what
kids
they
stuff.
were going for.
Wait, being limp wristed?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
well, they're not really getting.
Trying to take
I'm
it-
lost
what?
right now.
I think it's the
So-
opposite. They're not trying to at that point. You're just kind of flailing like a dead fish type. It's the dead fish theory for your hand.
Not a.
This just went.
This cocktail, not a dead fish.
Yeah, not a dead
Speaking of this cocktail, Di Serono, you also work with them.
So Sagamore was actually purchased by Di Serono in about a year ago, towards the end of 2023. So recently we've made some changes within the company, and I no longer just oversee global for Sagamore Rye, but I'm actually overseeing U.S. advocacy for the rest of our portfolio. So Di Serrano, arguably the most famous brand, and I think everybody's familiar with Di Serrano. We're celebrating our 500th anniversary this year.
This was the first thing that I would get drunk on. Well, like when I was 21, me and my buddy we would go over to his house and we'd sit and sip on Di Serrano playing Left 4 Dead until 2 in the morning, and we felt so cool. Like, look at the bottle, it's so sharp. Look at us, we're adults.
Like the nice little like sugar high drunk. Oh, that's always best. No, Di Serrano is obviously an iconic brand. We have a Velvet now too, which is a little bit newer-ish, a couple of years in market, probably about 4 years now. Tia Maria coffee liqueur, which is heavily debated as the original in the espresso martini. That's for Dick Bradsell and God to decide. I think I'll always say Tia Maria was it. I mean, if you think about it, the Kahlua is coming from Mexico. Tia Maria is more commonly found in England at that time period. So his daughter actually just did some videos with us where she did say it was actually Tia Maria in the original. So rest in peace to Dick, though. He was an innovator amongst innovators. Bramble, another one of his cocktails, like just all great drinks. Kind of like the OG of the London scene.
We're gonna pretend I made that slightly higher because I wanted a bigger pour.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm still nursing my crush. I've got to drive back after this, so I probably shouldn't just drive
Don't
back up.
say that. That's not.
That's why I'm behaving. I'm sipping.
Wait,
I'm
you cannot drive tonight. We drink responsibly on this.
We do drink.
podcast?
That's why I've had a third of a cocktail. That's drinking responsibly.
One day I'll learn.
Yeah.
That's why. That's
I'm
why
like
I
the
Uber
sip
everyone.
that's a drinking responsibly moment.
Well done.
He had chips.
I'm eating chips too, and I got this vegan
Officer,
rice.
I had a bag of chips.
I mean, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. I trust.
If I'm at a point I can't, I'll just Uber back and come get my car tomorrow. So
And that's what we're really trying to
Yeah.
teach here is responsibility.
yeah,
I will say.
that's at
We're
the end of the day. Too many people
promoting-
don't do that. Yeah, we're not trying to promote drinking and driving.
Yeah,
It's more,
don't do that. Don't hit the Galaxy gas on your way home.
No
definitely,
galaxy.
no hippie crack, whatever that was called. Yeah, Galaxy Gas.
I
What was I saying? Oh, I was finishing up the what's in our portfolio. So Di Serrano, Tia Maria, the Busker Irish Whiskey, which we do as a singles collection now. We've changed it up. So we do a single grain, single pot still, and single malt. I've got Zucca, Rhubarb Amaro. Yeah. That's a fun one to have. And then we have Engine Gin, which is an Italian gin that is super underrated.
Is that the one in the canister?
Yeah.
That like looks like a Italian
can, yeah.
olive oil.
Yeah.
Dude, I
That's
saw
so
that
cool.
when we were. Yeah, I saw that. It kind of looks like the still. What's his ass? The whiskey.
Yeah, it kind of does have that style look to it. So it was based off of oil cans from 1980s racing. But that gin, I want us to make a bigger push with it. That stuff is delicious.
I wish I had bought that today. Damn it.
I'll get you one next time. Next time I'm in town, I'll bring you one. It's worth it. It's so good. Yeah, Engine Gin is phenomenal. So we've got Zucca, Tia, Sag, Busker. I feel like on the back of my head I'm missing something right now, and this looks horrible. But it's also like 8:30 at night that we're doing this right now, so I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Zucca.
It seemed pretty close.
No, I think I got that's all of them. Yeah.
It'll come to you. So real quickly, the Morgenthaler Amaretto Sour, 1.5 ounce Amaretto, 3/4 of cast strength bourbon, which we used Frey Ranch uncut. Keep it Nevada, as he suggested, and great decision. I love Colby and Ashley Frey. Colby one time long ago committed to this podcast, like 2 years ago. So he's definitely in for this someday.
Colby, you're on the clock.
Yeah, right. An ounce of lemon. He says a teaspoon of 2 to 1 simple syrup. Rich syrup. I always do simple syrups because unless you have a specific cocktail on the bar that you're using a rich, I kind of want to be able to make all the classics and not have too many syrups. So I keep a simple. So in that ilk, because I didn't do a 2 to 1, I did like a 1/4 ounce instead of the teaspoon. So I felt like that was a pretty close conversion. And then about a 1/2 ounce of egg white. And then there you go.
Yeah. So this will be the best Amaretto Sour you will ever have.
Boom.
Period.
And let's pass that around.
It's an icon of the industry saying that. So that is a delicious Amaretto Sour. This is why I love it. It's not too sweet.
Right? That's the thing. It's like when I see people do like a whiskey or they use sour mix and then add amaretto, you're like, already, before when someone says like, "What can you make?" I'm just like, "Oh, do you have fresh lemon or sour mix?"
Yeah.
Because then we don't have to have this conversation at all.
Yeah.
You
I'll
know.
just have a vodka soda. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
gin and soda.
Sean beer it is, especially at events, because I'll get events like me and Kyler work events all the time, and we
Tyler likes it. He's looking at us like, yeah.
That's really good.
The twinkle in his eye has reappeared.
I mean, it is the best damn amaretto sour in the world. I do prefer a whiskey sour in general, just a bold whiskey sour. Like, man,
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite cocktails.
Oh yeah.
I lost my train of thought of whatever I was just about to say, so that's okay.
We were talking a little bit about Frey Ranch and
Oh yeah. Well,
and rich simple versus regular simple and
Did we finish giving the full recipe?
I feel like we did.
egg whites.
Yeah, I
You left egg whites. Oh,
I feel like we got it. One
Yeah, that looks
shake,
right.
dry shake, emulsify, however
So
you
you
will.
said
don't limp wrist it.
Don't
it's like one of those coffee whippers. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like an egg beater. If you look it up online, it'd be an egg beater or something, like an egg whipper. They're really nice to have.
Milk frother.
Milk
frother, yeah.
That's what it is. Those works very well.
That makes sense. You'd get that like nice foamy, rich.
It's just, but this was with nothing, and the foam is fine.
Yeah.
Not everybody's as strong as you.
That's true. That's true. But and I will say, don't be when I see. I don't care what kind of bartender you are. When I see that,
Yeah.
I just like I hate you.
Get in there and just
You know,
grip it and rip it.
it's almost more effort to do so little.
That's how I live my life. Sting, there's another idol of mine. I don't listen to his music, but the fact that he's out there, I respect that.
respect
Dope
that.
dude. He's a dope dude.
What movie is that from again?
Zoolander,
Oh, that's right. That's right. Steve.
Coincidentally, I walked
male
out.
model of the year.
Yeah, but it's his speech. That's right. Steve, that's another. I just like that he's out there.
It's my life. I grip it and I rip it.
When I was a young man, I walked out of the theater for Zoolander, and then came to find out I actually liked the movie later on when I understood a little more. It's like because it's like the inside jokes that I didn't get because I was too stupid. It's like I'm like, this is just ridiculously stupid, and it is really stupid.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
But
Like you didn't
but
know it
there's
was
like
a
things
joke.
that if you're an adult and you get what they're making fun of, it's a little more understandable.
Oh, yeah.
And so I watched it the second time out of theaters, and I was like, why did I walk out on?
He still can't get rid of that. To this day, you watch any of the Severance shit, they're still asking him about Blue Steel. Like he's
No
still
kidding?
he's still
Oh, that's
having to do
amazing.
it.
The poor bastard with his millions,
Yeah.
his Scrooge McDuck.
I mean,
What a life.
Zoolander 2 just wasn't that great.
It was
I mean,
not
is
just
any two
it was
good?
bad. It was
bad.
really bad.
Like, that one I would have walked out of.
This is
for
what
sure.
kills me about movies in general. You have something to go off of, and if you watch that movie and then you go and you do you're like, is this better than that?
Yeah.
And if they say no, then you're like, well, we still have some work to do here.
Well, I think it's every sequel except for maybe The Godfather. Like, Godfather 2 is like,
Ghostbusters 2,
great movie. Yes.
Lord of the Rings, all three are just amazing.
Yeah, but those are
Godfather
That's a
2.
little different. Like Lord of the Rings is
A
it's
saga.
designed. Yeah, it's designed. to
And
be like,
they
yeah.
filmed all like subsequently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you look at the current saga and you realize you can screw that up.
You can screw it up.
I've even watched the most current one, so
Oh well, like The Hobbit,
You
or
should.
or God forbid the Rings of
Power,
Power,
Rings of
dear
Power,
Lord.
yeah.
oh yeah, no, we
And I'm like, and if you Eric Kluver, Delmonico's beverage director, he is like the biggest Lord of the Rings nerd in the beverage industry.
no kidding. I did not know this about him.
Bro, we're doing it because me, him, Shannon from Garage East, and Chef Nicole Brison, we Brison,
Brisson.
we do a movie night. Constantine came to one, but he couldn't make it. He couldn't last through hours of food, wine, and TV. But we're doing Dune 1 and 2
Ooh, okay.
for this next one. That's what we do. That's like,
When is this?
well, now you're invited.
Yeah, I'm like, let me see if I can get to town for this one.
We make it work, but it's like a Sunday. It'll normally be like a Sunday or
That's
maybe
good.
or a Monday. You know, it depends. You're like, oof, Monday.
Like, no, Mondays aren't like usually too bad. I just be prepared. I will be up early in the morning on Mondays for calls. So
Yeah.
We've got
Well,
our-
it's not the morning because it's a late night and it's more of your hangover on the Tuesday because someone brings something cool. Obviously, Chef Nicole brings the food.
yeah, I was
and
gonna say like
she's just mass
she's bringing
prepared.
the Amaras. We got a problem here. Like,
We've had to hone her in because she comes with everything and has too many. It's like 5 courses and you're like, wait, we gotta do other stuff tonight.
This sounds horrible.
It's awesome.
Ooh.
And Shannon and Shannon brings like a couple wines in a dish. I supply whatever they want from here, and I have wine. And then Eric always brings a really cool bottle of like scotch or something.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a hell of a night. You know, I can't even tell you. It's the best thing I do.
This is the stuff I miss about living in Vegas. Is right there. Like that's like
That we have a rich culture of people that know how to hang.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I would really say is special about us.
I forget sometimes. I was like, literally I got to town. I'm like, yeah, I'll be in bed by 9:10. I got home at like 4 a.m. last night. I'm like 7 a.m. call, and I'm like,
It started with just one.
yeah,
I'm gonna have
it's always
just one.
and then it became just one shot, and then just one more, and then that chicken sandwich at Jive Turkey sounds really good. Let's go there. And then it's turned to, oh, I'm still hungry. I'm going to have a burger. We should probably have another shot while we're doing this. And then another. And then it's like, we've been here for 4 hours. Maybe we should change scenery. Let's go to Dino's.
Well, everyone's on a different level.
Yeah.
So it's like whoever's on the up, that's like really pumped, they're going to bring everyone else back. So it's like whoever's falling down, you get picked up by the next guy. And it's like, we're going to do a shot now. And you're like, okay.
All right, let's man up. Scary Birds, I wanted to keep going too. I was like at Dino's. I was like, all right, let's go to Hard Hat and say hi. And then I'm like falling asleep. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, it started kicking in. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm so used to waking up early now that like physically, yes, I could be here at 3 a.m. Mentally, I'm not. And like more like my mind is literally sitting there like, you need to go to bed. I'm like, so I kept like, it wasn't like falling asleep, but I kept yawning. Like it was one of those that I'd be like, okay, guys, so like how. Like it was just nonstop. The people I was with finally were just like, "Dude, go home. Like you're making me want to fall asleep now." I'm like, "Sorry." So
I want to say, because I can't. I'm such a critique of my own stuff. I want to say I wish I made this a slightly less sweeter.
So you think just do the tablespoon? Or teaspoon?
I think that
Tablespoon.
I think 2 bar spoons would have been less than a quarter ounce by enough of a degree.
Yeah, just enough.
It's so subtle. Like when we get to this point where you made this many cocktails, now it's like, how do I make this perfect?
Yeah.
You know, I want to make the perfect version.
Maybe it is the rich simple. Maybe it's a 2-to-1.
I mean, I was just being lazy and I didn't want to make another simple syrup. Because I'll tell you, I throw out a lot of stuff because I'll prepare for this and I always over prepare. And I don't drink as much at home as people would think with this vast bar behind me. Everyone's like, you have to go. How do you keep it?
That's why.
I'm like, well, I work most of the time. And when you come home from work, you're not like, what I need right now is another drink, you know?
Let me work some more.
I've tried to say that for years because I downsized heavily in the last year or two. And by downsize, I still probably have 120 bottles, but there was a point I was nearing 1,000. Like we're talking industrial shelves just lined. And everyone's like, well, yeah, you must drink all the time at home. I'm like, no, the reason I have so much stuff is because I keep getting bottles and I don't drink at home. Like, I was notoriously that person. Like, even now, like unless I'm like doing R&D or something like that, like, like last week, 2 weeks ago when I was home, we're working on drinks for 50 Best for the Tia Maria and the Di Serrano bars, and my Canadian counterpart was like, you got to try Tia Maria and sparkling French Italian lemonade, like that dry sparkling lemonade.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Holy cow. Okay, first off, 2-ingredient pour. That might be one of the greatest things I've ever had in my life. Tia Maria, coffee liqueur, and sparkling like French or Italian lemonade. Mind-blowing how delicious it was.
That's interesting.
But that was like right there. That was the first time I think I made a cocktail at home by myself in weeks and drank most of it. And it was just because I was like, this actually tastes like unreal. So, but like most of the time.
I would have never paired that. That's interesting.
He's been like, so his name's Daniel. He's awesome. He's been pushing it for a couple years in Canada now. And he's like, trust me. And I'm like, man, I made it. I was like, yeah. Next day we did our pitch and we're like, game time. We're doing this. So we pitched it. And they're like, it's good. Both of us were like, dude, I'm like, I made 2 of them at home. Like I kept drinking it. And to talk to the Italian team, they're like, really? We're like, so we're going to see. We're going to test run it at 50 Best. We'll see what people think.
Oh, speaking of 50 Best, you had mentioned that you guys have to game plan in case of the tariffs, right?
Yeah, there's been a little bit of talk. I mean, obviously nothing's set in stone yet. And it's kind of a just coming thing. The one crazy part is we do have Sagamore that's U.S. based. The rest of the portfolio is European Union based. I mean, Dieso's Italian, Zucca's Italian, Engine's Italian. Timur has European general. It's got Jamaican rum to it, but how we ship it out, and then Busker's obviously Irish whiskey. So it's a tricky time right now. Mostly the biggest fear is like with 50 Best coming up, like I'm probably not gonna be able to order Sagamore anywhere if it's pulled from shelves. They have some in inventory right now, so we're kind of good on that, but liquor stores won't have it. And a lot of it was just game planning and trying to prepare ourselves as a company for like say EU tariffs kick in. We've already like started stocking up in the US on DISO and TIA and stuff like that to make sure we have enough stock that we can weather this initial storm without having to rise prices too quick. Like right now we have it ordered in on the current pricing. So it's one of those things that we'll always work to try to keep in the best interest of the consumer. I mean, I think it's a hard thing right now. It's a weird area because people don't always want to talk about it. Being political and trying to keep that part out of bars and liquor culture stuff. But
Sure, but
yeah, with tariffs, I mean, it's just,
it's
we're
definitely
prepared-
it's a business
yeah,
thing. It's
we're
like,
preparing for the worst, but we're hoping for the best. And it's kind of like all you can really do is just plan. And that was, we, our leadership team on the sales side is fantastic. And they did a lot of work with Italy. And, our CEO, Rob's phenomenal in the U.S. Marcos, our global. They had meetings. They were super transparent. Even we had our global conference, our national conference in February. And so that was obviously like one of the first topics that came up. And this is sales, marketing. It's the entire company. I mean, we have people that work in like, the warehouse divisions and everything like that there. And it was, it was a big topic. But I think right now we're going to keep business as usual until we know what's happening. So we just stocked up enough. And like the nice thing is we won't have to do like bottles wise, kind of a funny number to throw out with the Sagamore there. We're going to change bottles eventually. We're going to take 1909 off the front of the bottle. See, our spring house was founded. But we ordered about 1 million of them. So we're good
so
on
the same shape
same
and
exact
everything.
shape and everything. It's just like one little thing in that little triangle where it says 1909 is coming off.
I really like that shape. I think it looks cool.
I was gonna say that was the first thing that he said and that's what you want.
Yeah, it's an old it's Rieger and Co. It's an old Baltimore distillery from the turn of the century. So we actually based it off that. Historically, this is a whole other conversation we can go into. Like I can go for hours on the history of rye in the U.S., but Baltimore in particular was like the hotbed. Like 1/3 of all the U.S.'s rye whiskey was coming out of Baltimore, like going up towards Prohibition. So they continued on during Prohibition. We never ratified the amendment. And I think a lot of that, people are like, well, why would you do that? We're like, well, we're trying to be outlaws, but realistically, Baltimore and D.C. are 45 minutes apart from each other. There's no chance in hell if the politicians had whiskey 45 minutes away, they were going to shut it down. Like,
Right.
the rules were for everybody now,
so
it's not for them.
funny.
So, and it's like one of those things I always say, and people are like, really? I go, I mean, it's not proven, but let's face facts. Like, there was, all those guys drank. They didn't care. Like,
A lot of this stuff is common sense.
Yeah.
And you just think we're creatures of habit and we're creatures of like we like our things.
yeah.
You know.
You're not going to get rid of whiskey. You're not going to get rid of America's spirit. I mean, realistically, the only thing that ended up killing rye whiskey in the U.S. For a while was World War II and subsidies with corn after that.
So you're just saying just a lack of the actual base of what you're building the spirit on was the only thing that
Well, it was with World War II. The war efforts changed everything. So you started seeing the need to produce ethanol became bigger, obviously. And at that point, I think there was not a person in America that was on board for defeating the Nazis. So that was kind of a big thing. But the government put some heavy tax subsidies on corn after that, so it was making it much more profitable to grow corn, whereas rye became looked as a cover crop. They just didn't care. So they were paying you to actually till it into the ground to rejuvenate the soil. Same thing they do with soy at times, things like that. And so it just became unprofitable to really make rye whiskey for a while, to a good degree. And you saw it, Baltimore, it was Maryland, by 1920 had about 42 distilleries, I want to say 44. By 1960 there were 2. That's how fast in 30 years everything changed.
drastic shift.
Yeah, it's one of those like I said, this is usually a seminar type thing I do. We can go for hours on this topic. So it's just crazy to see the history of rye. Rye came before bourbon, obviously. The Maryland style versus Pennsylvania was just the fact that corn did grow in non-GMO era. Now you can grow corn pretty much on the moon if you wanted to. Back then though, corn would grow about far north as that towards Maryland. So they would throw corn into the mash bill just because that little sweetness, with the rye.
Sure.
Made it a little nicer. And it's you look at George Washington's recipe. Even he had a mention of throwing a little bit of corn into his rye because he liked the sweetness he gave it. So there was just no distinct recipe. So that was kind of where Sagamore was born, was recreating Maryland rye, where it's still rye, but it's got some corn in the mash bill itself. So
Now, rye whiskeys nowadays have become so expensive. I mean, there's one relatively reasonable that
we
we
try to keep it pretty reasonable. So I mean, our small batch, we usually try to retail in that $30-$40 range. Marketing, so I won't speak to pricing, and it's different in every state, every country. But when you look at our competitive set, the brands we compete up against, like we're doing, like we're killing them on price point. It's pretty wild. So
Now, is that because right now rye as a crop itself is pretty more expensive than say corn, something that gets
to a
mass
degree, it
produced?
is. We build our own subsidies within the company. So what we did is we actually buy the seed for the farmers, and then we actually guarantee them a price per pound. So we try to use as much. Yeah, it's a good way to do it. It's one of those things we looked at as we want to incentivize them to grow rye for us. And so, of course, we try to use as much Maryland as we can. I mean, our big pride point has been over the last last 12 months, we got about 12 more to go, is slowly transitioning everything from our core lineup to being 100% made in Maryland. So we want like the water source of Maryland, as much as the grains as possible. Of course, like if there's an emergency, we do have a backup plan for grains, but we try to pull, I mean, we did 1.6 million pounds of rye out of Maryland in 2023. That's an insane number. You know, the corn's grown at our farm. We distill, ferment everything. Like the aging tanks, our aging warehouses are all 15 minutes from the distillery. Like we try to keep everything super close. And so the small batch turned last year. Double oak will turn by the end of the year. We did start as an MGP company, so there's a little bit, like a tiny amount of MGP juice still in some of the double oak barrels.
What is MGP?
Great question. Midwest Grain Producers, Midwest Grain Products. I've heard both, but essentially they're an industrial company out of Indiana that does. I always jokingly say they created the 95.5 rye. Really, they're kind of ones that popularized that style, and you'd be amazed like how many people actually use MGP rye.
Slow down.
Am I talking
Some
too
of us
fast?
dumber people. He's like, that's 95.5.
Yeah.
That's 95. Dollar bitter now. Dollar bitter now. We got a
Obviously, when I get on this part, I've said it so many times that it just becomes like it's a roll now.
That's 95.5. I'm like, wait. I
wants that?
think I know what he
Who
means.
wants an old fashioned 15 now? 20, go wants
You
a
want
20,
95?
I want
95 rye. You want 94 rye.
over
We
here.
want 96 rye.
Okay,
We sear our own peels. Do I hear 20?
so MGP though, they're a large producer, like very industrial complex out in Indiana, but they make fantastic ryes, bourbons. When I say, I mean, I'm looking at the back bar now, and I already see at least 2 brands that people wouldn't realize are actually made at MGP on their rye side.
I know
these
for
are-
one that you're thinking of.
Yeah,
off
and
the
these
top.
are
Who is it?
very
Bullet.
famous brands. Yeah, Bullet has always done the rye through MGP.
Everyone's like, Bullet. And this is the
Their
thing.
bourbon now they make.
MGP makes very high quality whiskey.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothers the aficionado is if you say it's, oh, this is our product, and you're like, well, did you distill it? Because it's like,
Yeah, but isn't that the same with Ireland and Scotland and in Mexico too?
yes,
Because those are actual like legal laws. Like tequila has to be made by a regular, like the laws of tequila, like which is a huge topic on its
Yeah,
own
but you're
right now.
talking like we in Scotland, right? So the same distillery will make 10 different labels, right?
it's not as common as so certain distilleries make a lot for the blended. So here's an example. Cole Isla is an Isla Scotch that does most of their product goes to Johnny Walker.
So they can
They're
distill it.
giving that.
They send it to Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker says, "Well, we put it in our barrel and put it in our rack house, and now it's our product."
Right, because that's a portion because they're doing a blended whiskey, so they're taking from all these other. But at the end of the day, it's whereas tequila might have 12 or 15 if it's like one of those. Tequila has some MGP style
God, yeah.
places, but not. I wouldn't say Scotland is doing it like that. I would say that they contribute. Here's another example. You have Gordon McPhail, right? Gordon McPhail buys the barrel as is from the distillery. They're not saying it's not. So
Wouldn't this be the Kirkland style as well? Like if you look at any of the Kirkland blend, their Kirkland stuff
They
is
just
the
sign
same.
contracts. They don't have to admit to
yes,
it.
but they're not telling
Right,
you
but they
where
don't
it's
tell
coming
you
from. Whereas
that
when
their
I
vodka is the same as Grey Goose, or their
Right.
whiskey, their Canadian whiskey is the same as Crown Royal. They're getting from the same source, right? You're getting the same product.
yeah, and
but
it's
it's
more
labeled
likely
under
with
somewhere
those
different.
mass-produced ones where for them it doesn't matter to they don't worry about the little bit of market share that they're going to lose to
But
the mom
is
and
this the
pop
same
shop.
thing?
You
Is
know,
this what we're talking about with MGT?
No,
Well,
no. So,
MGP is a huge facility that makes spirits according to your mash bill the way you want them made. They just have all the equipment to make it. Then they also do things that their own private barreling, like and they have rare character, and all that. Right, that comes
Yeah.
out of there. And rare character is winning awards. Rare character, I personally have given best.
Are they
at
winning?
show.
Are they winning real awards or
Yeah,
are they
like-
winning
like whiskey
country
of the
artist
year,
of the year?
yeah,
Like,
like whiskey of the
bro,
year,
bro,
like
at-
San Francisco tasting major awards.
Okay, so proof awards are only people that buy spirits, right? That's the idea behind the proof awards is that if you're a judge there, it's because you buy spirits for a restaurant or a bar or whatever. So I'm a judge for the proof awards, and we've 2 years ago. I was there this year, and MGP took very very high marks with one of their things. It was like the rare character pumpernickel rye, which is fantastic. And then the year before this, they had there's something that's echoing.
So why is it that why don't we like MGP?
No, we don't not like MGP. There's
fuck 'em.
a sect.
We do love. So I mean, for us as a company, we met with them. We started our mash bill through them. We learned how to make our mash bill through, and we slowly transitioned out. So that's why for us, like, they were a backbone. We wouldn't be where we are today without them. Like, realistically, if you're starting a whiskey company, you need 4 years to age that right out of the gate, right?
What are you
All that is
doing
going
for
to be
those 4 years?
money that you are putting in and putting in and putting in for 4 years with zero ROI at all. Like, it is 4 years. And at
Return
that point-
on investment for those that
Yeah.
don't know what ROI is.
So return on investment.
He was going to ask.
Yeah. But
I knew what it was.
You were going to ask.
No,
that's one of the hard. And at that point too,
it makes sense though.
if you're
'cause
making it on your own for your first 4 years,
if you can't do a vodka or
it might
gin
be
or something,
horrible.
right?
Yeah, it might be. And that's the thing. A lot of
Oh, that's something no one talks about. It could be bad.
it could be bad.
You made
And
a
then
bad
you just
product.
wasted 4 years and all your money, and that's
Yikes. I never even thought
Yeah.
of the fact that you're gambling for 4 years and you don't even know if it's good.
so that was when we started with MGP, that was part of it. Was we were able to get our whiskey and evolve it to how we want it to be. We do a double mash bill. We have a high rye, which is at 95.5, and then we do a low rye, which is where the bulk of our corn comes into play, which is a 52 rye, 43 corn, 5% malted barley. Notice I'm trying to speak slower now. I'm not trying to fire it out. I'm trying to be really good about this part.
This is slower. I like
yeah.
it. It's not. It's
We
it's
ferment,
only for people that need explanation.
Yeah, we blend it together at bottling though, so we age everything separately. The whole point was we were developing those, so we worked with them hand in hand to develop those recipes, and that way we had product to start with to get to market with, because otherwise, we've done some experiments on the side. Ryan, our master, still likes to play around a lot. Like we've done.
How old is this product?
We started as a company in 2013. We opened the distillery in 2017. And so if you think about it now, 6-7 years, we're getting that first time where we're starting to transition over now, where it's our actual 100%. We made it in-house. All of it's coming from us. So it's been a really exciting year for that. We did our first bottle and bond that was full-blown, made in Maryland back in November for Made in Maryland Day. We got really creative with the name on that.
Well, if you feel comfortable, I'm gonna have you make the old fashioned that you would make at Herbs and Rye when you were there. If you feel comfortable. Boom. Oh boy.
Yeah, no, I got this.
And I'll take.
I guess, I got to take these headphones off now. Woo! Ow. My ears feel funny.
It's pretty wild. Listen.
Yeah, it's kind of like, now I don't know how I feel. Now everything's echoing. This is scaring me a little bit. All right. We'll start with some sugar nuggets here.
Boom. So wait, hold
Boom.
on. Wait.
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah.
Are you zoomed in on me? Okay, cool. I'm like, cameras are on me, right?
Yeah, you're the same size. You're the same height.
Yeah.
I had to adjust.
I'm like, thank you. I'm I'm starting to get back into it. All right.
So basically, he can
6
cut
months on the road, you learn how to eat really horribly, really bad. So you got to get better at that.
6 months on the road.
6 months now, 7 months on the road. Well, no, actually, probably closer to 9 months now. But yeah, 9 months of traveling all the time. And it's like every time you go out, it's like, do I have the steak? Yeah, why not? And we're going to have a drink or two.
And I moved yours right here.
Oh, beautiful. And so I quickly realized I was like, got to start eating a little healthier. So we're going to put a little soda water on these sugar cubes, just a little splasher, just to help dissolve them.
This is someone the other day actually asked me the question. They said, why, they said, why don't I get enough dilution? Why isn't it breaking down when I douse it in bitters and I muddle it and it's not breaking down like I thought it would?
Which one? Orange?
I put Ango to the left, but yeah, and then that's orange, and then yes, sir.
I'm giving you guys the actual OG like Herbs Rye recipe.
Oh, okay, perfect. I
You
love it.
wanted herbs, you're getting herbs. So
That's right.
So
That's
what we're
exactly
doing here is we always did a 2-to-1 combo, 4 dashes Ango, 2 dashes of orange.
Oh shit, I didn't give you a muddler. Hold on.
That's one right here, right? No, that's not. Okay, now I'm gonna stand here and act like I don't know what to do with my hands, because I don't know what to do with them for a minute.
If you don't,
No, I don't. I have
chew
no idea
Big
what's
Red?
going on right now. You don't chew Big Red, then fuck you. Perfect. Now we got a mother. Jesus, this thing's like
It's insane, isn't it?
I'm overcompensating for some
Yeah.
reason.
no, it's
this is a mother, right? I mean, I'm getting a little scared looking at this.
I used to have to work in a ghetto, so when you walk to your car, you
that's
want
what this
something
is
real
from.
safe, because that thing is a freaking murderer.
It's like it was in your prison wallet at one point.
Hey, Botezzi,
it's been
Botezzi.
sanitized.
Botezzi, the great Italian company that I called
Relax.
out today.
Yeah, you did.
He's
That was
like,
the
I'm like,
most-
oh, is this Botezzi? Yeah, well, you were like, your life was complete when I said that. You're like, yes, somebody knows.
It was
The
the
first
first
person.
You were the first person to say, "Are these Botezzi tools?" And I
Hey,
was
I'm-
like,
I'm a nerd of my cocktail tools.
it was incredible, honestly, because I've had these tools for almost 6 years,
Yeah, see,
and not one person knows what Botezzi is until you. So, man,
they definitely started like getting seen heavily back. It was probably like, geez, 6-7 years ago. I'd say it was like right before COVID. I feel like you started seeing them pop up. I liked them. I was
they
just
were
like,
a little
I had
pretentious. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, they were a little pricey out of the gate, and I was kind of one of those like I that was about the same time Cocktail Kingdom had the matte black set, and so I went all matte black, which I didn't realize was going to chip completely off
They chip off
so
yeah.
badly. I was like, oh, these are so sick, and now I'm like,
They must have been plated, right? They weren't.
yeah, it was just a quick coating, clear coat on. I remember when it was happening. One of my good friends works for Cocktail Kingdom from the industry for years, and we would give him shit. We're like, dude, why do these just keep falling apart? So, all right, we
They're
got
not
ice cubes
cheap,
sitting
right?
anywhere. Let's get some whiskey going. Well, actually, let's put some ice cubes back first.
And I didn't know
Right,
which.
that didn't go well. That one's gonna be a little more diluted, but that's fine.
There you go. Yeah, sorry. You're gonna have to just finger. You're gonna have to finger
Guys,
it, bro.
sorry. Try to use bar tools at home, but
Salinity.
on the job. But when you're at home, making
This
it with
is
friends.
this setup. I had to make it as
I was sitting on my hand the whole time, so this is gonna have a little extra flavor for you.
excellent. I'll take that one, please.
Woo. Extra nutty.
Why
for
does
you.
mine taste like fart?
So now we're gonna go 2 ounces of Sagamore Double Oak.
Why did you pick that?
So this is actually my favorite one for old fashions. It's 96.6 proof. It is the way we do this is we take our small batch and we age it for an additional 18 months in a level 1 toasted wave state style barrel. So it gives it a lot of like. Don't worry, your old fashioned will just sit here.
I'm a
and melt.
fast drinker.
I see that.
Let's-
Whoa, bro!
you're
Jesus
fine. You're
Christ!
responsible. You're
All right,
you can
touche.
walk upstairs.
He wanted me to buy a new bottle tomorrow. Apparently,
Exactly.
this is the end of my night. So
You
touche.
are a great rep.
Yeah, it's
Wow. He's like, look, look,
marketing
look, look.
side. I'm not even on sales. This is marketing 101 right here.
Yeah, burn the bottle. This is amazing.
I'm trying to do this clean. It's been a couple years. I don't know if I
have-
still have.
I have
lost a
the-
step or anything.
The Spotty making drinks at my bar.
Let's see if I can still do this.
Insane. Oh God.
Oh yeah, and then
So
just
fluid.
not even paying attention, starts just shifting directions. I
I-
can still do that.
I honestly, I've not mastered doing them at the same speed. I can definitely double stir. I can't. My left hand is just a little fucking goofy. A little,
Yeah,
just
you just
doesn't.
gotta, sit on the couch with a pint glass, and just practice over and over and over.
That's what I tell everyone with when you've gone from not using jiggers in your bartending skills, and then you say, hey, we use jiggers at every moment. I go, hey, can you just hold this all day? Just hold this all day and fidget with it.
Yeah.
It'll become second nature. Just fidget with a jigger for the rest of your day or two, and it really it changes the game. It's anything you do in life. You just need to constantly give it reps, right?
I feel like there's too many people that have given a little too many reps.
Are you talking about limp wristing again?
I mean,
Didn't even look.
Here we go.
he's on fire today.
Well, here we're gonna slow you up first.
I have a gallon of
First one
gallon of Sagamore here. He poured me. If you're at a
And
bar
round.
and you get this pour, you better tip that bartender. My lord.
If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck.
You know,
We've been
4
quoting
ounces of Sagamore.
Anchorman for hours leading up to this. So,
Talladega Nights.
oh yeah, that was.
Shake and bake.
That's right. That's Talladega Nights. Same but different.
I don't know what to do with my
I
hands.
don't know what to do with my hands.
I will find how many movie references happen in this episode because it's
We can
in
keep
the
this
high.
going. Yeah, I
it's
mean,
in the high
we
70s.
haven't even hit like a Point Break one yet or anything like that. We're really failing.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's funny how many episodes.
Doctor.
It's funny how many episodes that Kyler actually is referencing something, and people are like, "Okay, yeah, cool."
Yeah, whatever,
Like,
guy.
oh, obviously not a movie person. Obviously not a movie person.
I appreciate the fact that when I do throw them out there, you've been responsive.
Yeah, that right when you walked in today and you said there was some sort of reference, I can't remember what it was, and immediately you picked it up, and I was like, "Oh, he'll do well."
This is gonna be a fun one.
I
I just hate microphones, obviously.
I like the
This
headphones.
thing's great. I kind of want to get like ba-rum-ba-bum, start rapping into this thing right now. A little Dylon.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
5 best rappers of all time.
5 greatest rappers of all time. Dylon, and Dylon. I rip
he's-
when I rhyme when I rip. I spit hot
Spits
fire.
These headphones do change
Shut
the
the
game.
studio down.
Shutting the studio.
Man, that of
Cambodian
all the
breast milk.
things of that episode, how did that part be the part that aged the worst by far was Diddy.
Diddy's part.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that till right now. Like that is by far the part that
The Cambodian
aged
breast
the
milk
worst.
was on point.
Yeah,
Like,
that
they
was
must-
actually on brand for Diddy.
He knew.
Yeah,
He
I was
knew.
gonna say it's like
Like-
if anyone knew.
I kind of want to go back and watch it and see if there's any point where Dave's like spraying baby oil around the studio or something like that. Like,
I mean, it's ambiguous,
Kinda
but it's
fucking
there.
yeah,
He's greasy.
he knew what was going on.
Because shut the studio down. I need your butthole.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh God.
See, these are the last minutes of the podcast.
Dude, how in that?
This is like, yeah,
but
this
you
feels like
can't-
something you're gonna get surgically removed after a really rough night on.
So I don't know how this dude
It
parties.
is
Yeah.
pure metal. That thing is
Yeah.
That's how they market it. Here, let me see that real quick.
They market it as a
a billy club.
or a billy club.
That's how I treat it.
Yeah.
So
well, because it's
when-
so unassuming. You
This
look
is
at
where
it,
the
you're
wheels
like,
come
oh,
off. Everybody.
this
It
is where
looks
the
like-
wheels
it
come off.
looks like
the fact that we
aluminum.
have less watches
My
on the
second
end.
time in
It's
rehab.
like we could get away with a lot more. They marketed it like one solid piece of steel brought to you.
Yeah, I mean,
by
it's
Boats
definitely
It's-
solid and steel right there.
Steel.
And-
it looks like it could be
And
aluminum, right?
I'm telling you, if I'm walking down a corridor and you're coming at me, this thing will change your day.
If
So
you
I feel
accidentally-
very
This
safe.
is like straight up out of American Psycho
I
or
feel
something
so
like
safe.
Batman uses.
So
to,
I'm just like walking.
decapitate people.
If I'm walking
American
down a
History
dark
X.
alley,
Yeah.
you know, when
God, wow.
when you work in
Too soon?
Vegas, especially
Soon.
like
The
downtown.
movie's like 30 years old.
If you work in Vegas and it's downtown,
If
you
you
actually
accidentally clip the side of your leg, you're gonna fucking cripple
Yeah,
yourself.
you can,
dude.
you
You're
can
gonna
actually
fall.
shatter your kneecap with that.
listen. When you're a master of your tools, you don't accidentally clip your leg like an asshole.
If you're just, what do you it sounded like you're
That's what
skipping
he
outside of
said?
work and just.
No. Is there a part of me that's like, I wish a motherfucker would?
Ah, it's over.
But
Career-ending injury.
Doing the high knee.
I've had a girlfriend that used to work at the Golden Nugget, okay? And
Yeah.
she would talk to me about having to walk home.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if you had this in your hand, you would be like,
Nobody would know.
Again, that's what he
no one,
said.
no.
Trust me, it's heavier than it looks.
And this is where you lose sponsorship. My bad. Sorry.
Well, we'd have to get our
Well,
first.
guys, it was fun.
If you're
Weber
limp-
Ranch is our product sponsor, but we've not been paid to do anything. So everything you're getting
Your
here.
wrist is limp. Don't worry.
like
Let's
it.
do the work for you.
We might have been able to get you like a good like Ace Bandage like advertisement today. Limp wrist? No, Ace Bandage. You'll
No.
be shaking egg whites like a king.
Okay, there was a period where I was walking through a very dark part of town, and I used to put my wine key with the knife part out in one hand as a fist packer, and I would have this in my left hand, and I would just walk to my car, and
Sounds like a video game.
and then I would just feel safe. I know I never had to use it. Never had one person ever approach me, but it was also like there's an air of confidence when you feel like I dare them.
Yeah.
And then, like you're safe. I don't know.
I kind of feel like that's safer than walk around like brandishing like a 9mm. Like,
Well,
this is
I
gonna
can
launch
literally
shotgun.
say this is
It's-
part of my bar
that
kit.
won't like get
You cannot say I'm holding a weapon. I'm holding a bar tool.
Yeah.
So
I mean, usually I walk around downtown Vegas myself. He's like,
he's just
You would have to give him the quick.
26 trombones
have you
in
ever
the
seen a
big
parade
parade.
right now?
Have you ever knuckled anybody with that though? Somebody reaches
A
over
little-
the bar. Yeah.
a little.
dude.
Hey, whoa,
think with
whoa,
the
whoa,
shit,
dude!
actually.
Hurt.
I haven't
Yeah,
acted
one
out of
time.
school. Don't.
Only friends though. I don't do it. To
Somebody
like,
tries to. You never guessed. They try to grab a little extra olives on your side of the tray.
That one I would usually actually do kind of a mean thing. I would either just hand them the whole bucket and like put it on a plate, go there, man, I gotta toss it now. Or I like if they were being jerks about it, like, what, you're not gonna let me eat them? I just pick the whole thing, and just dump it out, and look at the bar back, and be like, I am so sorry, this guest just decided they wanted to touch.
Oh
every
my
piece of
God.
fruit. Do you mind? And they would just like. This was years ago. Like as I got older, I just started doing I'm just gonna put it all on a plate and give it to them.
It's
And
better.
then they're like,
That's- yeah.
what's this for? I'm like, well, I can't use it now. And they go, oh, like you gotta think about that. Like I don't know where your fingers are. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, man. That's a good point. And then you like make them feel bad, but then
You look like
you also got to stare them down to make sure they're eating. Like if I give you a plate of olives, you better be eating those olives at that point. Don't
leave.
playing game, yeah.
Don't you leave.
That's a baller move, though. I like it.
Yeah.
Just boom here,
Yeah, take them all.
because you insisted.
Here's the giant jar of cherries. Like eat all of them right now. There's like 3,000 cherries in here. I don't care. Eat them all right now.
That's all you get.
It's that. Blue cheese olives. You know. But that's why I'm pro bar snacks.
Yeah.
Honestly, little bar snacks. You know.
Today was brought to you by Doritos.
No, these are not
are-
Doritos.
Not
These are
Doritos.
what are they?
They're okay. So I was at Sam's Club, and they're marketed exactly the same way as Doritos.
So
and
they're no Ritos.
they're called
Furritos.
Yeah. Faux Ritos.
Ranch Aritos, and they're
They
this.
fooled me.
They're not bad though, right? They're not. They tasty.
I was
like-
pretty pissed, but I'm
They're
glad.
a little less zingy than Cool Ranch. I kind of like these.
You know, and they, in all fairness, the bag was way more full than a Doritos bag would have been. So you got a lot more.
Startup.
Yeah.
A startup trying to get loyalty.
Yeah.
You know.
Like
Like-
20% chips, 80% air. Nah, we're
competitor.
going 70, 30.
They're made in the BMP factory or whatever, but who cares?
Yeah. Gotta love those Sam's Club deals.
So, I feel like this is a perfect time to end it, gentlemen. It's
been fun.
This has been amazing. I can't wait till you come back. We're gonna do this again.
Oh, 100%. Next time we'll just do something even goofier. Like, we'll obscure movie night, obscure movie quote night.
Yeah, let's do it. We can have like
yeah.
an off. Yeah.
Everything said has to be a movie quote.
Oh, that's fun. Only movie quotes.
Only
Actually
movie
remind
quote.
me.
There's gonna be some dead time, but
I'll leave you with one of my favorite little one-offs. I was bartending at this place called Crudo. It's in Phoenix, like 2014. And me and one of the bartenders would always play games with each other. And so one of them we decided for these guests, and it was like an hour-long thing, we could only quote in sync lyrics as how we were talking to guests. And the ultimate was us trying to say goodbye to people because it kept turning into like him going bye, bye, bye. And I'd be like, bye, bye at the top of my lungs and like just going back and forth with it, which is a great way to end this as well, too, because we're saying goodbye. But I don't know why that just came to mind, but it was like so ridiculous. And the owner, Micah, is still one of my closest friends. He like picked up on it after like 20 minutes. He was looking at us like, he's like, you guys got to be the dumbest people I've ever seen in my life. Because it was literally like,
Or the smartest.
I'd be walking up to someone like giving them a menu. Go, is this a menu? I'm like, yeah, I'm giving you this tonight, and like walking away. It was like the worst possible quotes, and like we just sounded like we were like huffing paint in the back or something like that. We just
but
sounded.
you had a good time, right?
Yeah.
Galaxy gas.
We had a blast. Yeah,
Galaxy.
it was all Galaxy gas. We were on
the end
that.
of the
We
day.
were on that hippie crack, if you will.
Two
We're
bars.
gonna do a whole episode just
Two
on nitrous
servers.
oxide. Cheers, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's good to be home. Pleasure. We're out.